What's up, guys? Memorex back with a brand new video, and today for this video we have the complete history of Metal Hero 1982 to 2019 featuring Beetleborgs by Acrimony Toku, and this is recommended to me by ASMR Pong Poom, who's also the one who recommended me my last reaction to of like a Super Sentai or Kamen Rider video, one of the two. But yeah, this is one of his videos that I've been meaning to get to for a hot minute, where he recommended me a couple. He recommended me a couple videos. Actually, one of them sitting right up there, the complete history of Super Sentai, and then there's also the complete history of Kamen Rider. He recommended all three of these videos to me, and I've been meaning to get to them for a while. Haven't been finally get to them, so I'm just gonna start off with this one for right now, just because y'all know I've been busy. Just been busy with stuff past weekend, so I haven't been able to make a long form video. At least today, though, we're on with the actual video. Not just me coming on here all sweaty talking about something. Yeah, guys, I couldn't upload today. But yeah, this is day 11 of the 30-day May challenge. We still here, and I'm definitely still gonna get ready to start reacting to Void Stranger sooner. It's gonna be sometime this week. Sometime this week, y'all will see the reaction to the Void Stranger Lord. But it'll be sometime this week, yeah. Anyhow, let's just go ahead and get into this. Now, this is for the Metal Hero. I'm gonna assume this is like the metal. I wanna say, I'm not sure if this is on. Okay, no, this is on. Okay, no, this is on like movie and show or whatever. I was thinking it was like part of like the Super Sentai series, and it's like it'll be like the Metal Hero that's usually involved in him, like kind of like a Robo Knight from the Power Rangers Megaforce. But nah, this one's like, this is the its own show. So anyhow, let's go ahead and get into this.
Throughout its 40-year history, Metal Hero has experienced a rise and fall like no other Toku show.
Okay.
Combining armored heroes with sci-fi and police elements, Metal Hero would help define Toku throughout the 80s and 90s.
Okay.
This video is going to cover every single season of Metal Hero, as well as the important crossovers and even the American adaptations like VR Troopers and Beetleborgs.
Data binder. Input card.
So sit back and relax. This is the complete history of Metal Hero. 1982 would see the release of Uchu Keiji Gavin, or Space Sheriff Gavin. This was the inaugural season of what would eventually be known as the Metal Hero franchise. Heavily inspired by Star Wars, the creation of Gavin was the result of Toei wanting to introduce a new solo hero that wasn't a Kamen Rider and didn't require kids to know any backstory in order to jump in and enjoy.
Makes sense.
In pre-production, Toei considered a lot of different names, such as Space Detective Z, Ginjiro, and Ginbird. However, Toei would settle on the name Gavin, named after a French actor named Jean Gabin. This made it much easier for Toei to copyright the name due to it being non-Japanese. Toei would cast the legendary Kinji Oba as Gavin, famous for his roles in Battle Fever J and Dingy Man, and he would don a unique chrome suit that would become iconic over time. Gavin was a member of Galactic Union Police, an organization of space cops, and he was trained on Planet Bird before traveling to—
Can we just, I want to talk about. It's like, what I just do? I'm gonna start buying down.
a unique chrome suit that would become iconic over time. Gavin was
like, I just gotta talk about it. Look at poses like these. Back in the, like, nowadays, if you released a show and you had your characters posing like that, people will call the whole show cringe. That's great. Like, back in the day, we all accepted it because we were all kids when stuff like this came out. So we all accepted it and loved it. And so, off of nostalgia reasons, we don't call it cringe. I mean, in a way, you could still kind of consider it cringe with them posing like that and stuff like that, but you could consider it that, but nobody, we all refuse to acknowledge it like that just because that's what we grew up on. Hey, I'm right there with you. I don't care. I'm not calling Power Rangers cringe. I grew up on it. I'll never call it cringe. I don't care. But yeah, if you release something like this currently, well, granted, I think currently we already have this last Super Sentai series, but I think Super Sentai was basically almost still airing. But just the name behind it, since it's got the name, that's why it's still considered nostalgic. So that's probably why it's still don't call it like that. But it's just like, but yeah, if you release a completely different show with stuff like this, people will be up and down calling it cringe.
was a member of Galactic Union Police, an organization of space cops,
boy got a
and he was
lightsaber?
trained on planet Bird before traveling to Earth in an effort
Oh yeah,
to stop
they did say it's inspired off Star Wars. Okay, that makes sense.
the Maku Empire.
Yeah, he's got
Gavin was quite
Star-
successful and would kick off the Metal Hero series in a big and bold way. In 1983, Toei released the direct sequel series to Gavin with Uchu Keiji Sharavan, or Space
Okay.
Sheriff Sharavan. This show would see
That
Gavin
sequel
be
hard.
promoted to captain of the Galactic Union Police, while Din Iga, his successor, would henching into Sharavan and become the new protector of Earth. As a sequel series, Sharavan featured a lot of characters and story elements from Gavin, while Sharavan himself would sport a sleek new red suit design that fit perfectly within this universe. Sharavan teamed up with Lily as they would continue the effort to protect Earth.
I'm sorry, just the dramatic head turn. The way they replayed that like 3 different
Perfectly
times.
within this universe. Sharavan teamed up with Lily
Okay, it
as
was
they
on,
would continue
oh wow, there's only one head turn. They just zoomed. I'm sorry to keep going back. I
suit
just-
design that fit
Okay, no, there was
perfectly
a head
within
turn.
this universe. Sharavan teamed
I'm
up
sorry.
with Lily as they would continue the effort to protect Earth. Sharavan
I
was
love
a
the
worthy
commercial
sequel
break,
to Gavin and did a great job
okay,
at giving
whatever you
this
call 'em.
universe a fresh coat of paint. "1984 brought us the third and final show in the Space Sheriff series with Uchu Keiji Scheider, or Space Sheriff Scheider. Dai Sawamura, or Scheider, played by the late Hiroshi Tsuburaya, was a native of Earth who would take on the role of Earth's protector, and he featured a new blue color scheme to differentiate
It's the
him
Blue
from his
Ranger.
predecessors.
Ooh, oh no, that is a clean suit. It's like the suit just gets
For
cleaner
those
and
of you
cleaner as it
wondering,
goes on.
yes, Hiroshi Tsuburaya, the man who played Scheider, is the grandson of the absolutely legendary Eiji Tsuburaya, co-creator of Ultraman and Godzilla, and one of the most
Oh.
important people in the history of Toku.
That's cra-
As for Scheider, this series and its namesake were both excellent additions to what was quickly becoming a full-fledged franchise.
Dang, that's their first. that's their first Megazord.
1984 would also deliver the first ever movie in the Metal Hero franchise with Scheider the movie. Taking place between episodes 19 and 20, this project
I'll tell you what Metal Hero, this has got to be like inspired stuff like you know how Power Rangers will sometimes have like an extra ranger, not like the green ranger or white ranger or something like that. Would have like, they're not even a ranger really, but a robot. Well, was Megaforce the only show that had that? Cause I know Megaforce had Robo Knight. I'm trying to think, was Megaforce the only show that had that? I'm trying to remember, was Megaforce the only Power Ranger show that had like a robotic ranger basically? I'm 1 second, y'all. I really gotta move the cord for my headphones so I can stop rubbing up against my mic. Cause like I've got the mic filter on, but I'm not sure if y'all can like still hear that properly. I'm sure y'all probably can. I'm just gonna have to really try not to let that scratch on there. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Is there any other Power Ranger show that had like a robotic knight with them? For some reason, I automatically think of dang Power Rangers SPD, where the dang the like leader of the SPD, the blue dog dude, in his Power Ranger form. For some reason, I automatically think of him. He's not even a robot. I'm trying to think of it like an actual robot that was with them. I feel there's another one. One of y'all have to remind me, or I'll have to look it up after the video. I cannot remember for the life of me. I promise there was somebody else besides just Robo Knight, but yeah, there was somebody besides Robo Knight, but I can't remember right now. Anyhow,
would bring Space Sheriff's excitement and signature sci-fi style to the big screen. This movie featured a suspenseful rescue operation that was Scheider's biggest adventure yet, and a lot of villains were featured, making this a memorable chapter in Metal Hero's legacy. In 1985, Toei introduced us to Kyoju Tokuso Juspion, or Mega Beast Investigator Juspion.
I thought it was gonna be a green
without
Metal
the
Knight.
Uchu Keiji
Wait,
tagline, marking the
Metal
start
Hero,
of a
my
new
bad.
era for the
I
franchise.
thought it was gonna be a green one next. They were going in color order.
Jaspion would retain many elements of its predecessors with some unique additions to the formula, like his Robo Dailion. The elements
Hold
of
up,
its
that-
predecessors with some unique
That dude kind of reminded me of dang Gaping Jaw from Dark Souls and Elden Ring Night Rain.
additions to the formula, like his Robo Dailion. Jaspion's
Oh, I mean Gaping Dragon, not Gaping Jaw. I mean, he ain't considered something to Gaping Jaw a little bit, but Gaping Dragon.
parents were killed before he was adopted by Aging, and he learns of a Dailion. Elements of its predecessors
forgot to
with
back
some
up a little bit
unique
after
additions to
pausing.
the formula, like his Robo Dailion. Jaspion's parents were killed before he was adopted by Aging, and he learns of a prophecy where the world will be destroyed by mega beasts once Satan Gorth awakens.
Satan Dwarf.
Jaspion would travel from planet to planet as he battled Satan Gorth and the Mega Beasts in his special armor made from a rare mineral called Agenium. The name Jaspion is a combination of the English words justice and champion.
Okay, that's cool.
1986
Damn,
saw the
Warfare rolled
release
down
of
the steps.
Ziku Senshi Spielbahn, or Space Time Warrior Spielbahn. Featuring multiple metal heroes in Spielbahn, Diana, and Helen, the series continued with a similar tone to the previous seasons, and in Brazil it was actually marketed as a sequel to Jaspion named Jaspion 2 Spielbahn. Spielbahn even featured the legend herself,
Oh, wow.
Machiko Soga, as Queen Pandora, not to be confused
Yeah.
with Witch Bandora. Spielbahn even
Bandora.
featured a lot of
That must be who she's calling Super Sentai. What was she called? I think was it Rita Repulsa she was called in dang Power Rangers? That's who she reminded me of. That was the person I immediately thought of when I saw her though.
as Queen Pandora, not to be confused with Witch Bandora. Spielbahn even featured a lot of sound effects that were used in Dragon Ball, probably because Toei made both shows around the same time. Spielbahn took chances with the formula while still retaining the Metal Hero feel that fans had grown accustomed to.
Side Phantom!
Metal Hero returned in 1987 with a new hero inspired by the legendary android Kikaider. This was
Okay.
Chojinki Metalder, or Superhuman Machine Metalder, featuring
It kind of feels like as the series is going on, it's like did it kind of feel, well, most of them, all of them felt like robot designs. This one feels more closer to a human. Like feels like closer to more of like an android more than an actual like robot design. Even though it's a human inside of a suit, all the other suits it makes you look like you're an actual robot. Cause when I first came into the video and I look at the thumbnail and stuff like that, I'm thinking, I really gotta stop letting that scratch. I'm thinking like, okay, I'm thinking like these are like actual robots, like robot superheroes. Like I'm not thinking that this is a person morphing into these robotic designs. That's how much they look like robots. So now it's like with this one, Chojinki Metalda. I hope I pronounced that right. Now it looks more human. Like I wonder if it's gonna keep that thing going. Part of me kind of hopes it still leans back into the more robotic design more than like android design. I kind of like the earlier designs a lot better than this one. This one's still not bad though.
android Kikaider. This was Chojinki Metalder, or Superhuman Machine Metalder. Featuring a sleek red and blue aesthetic, Metalder was an android created at the end of World War II, who was
Okay, that makes more sense. That makes more sense. The fact that's not he's literally an android. Okay, that makes more sense. So I guess if I would have just shut up and kept watching, I would have known that.
a sleek red and blue aesthetic. Metalder was an android created at the end of World War II, who was inactive until the Neros Empire would invade Earth. This series incorporated a darker tone and story than previous seasons, and the ratings would drop in response.
Nani?
Due to the lower ratings, Metalder would only reach 39 episodes, making it the shortest series in the franchise.
Dang.
血の敵を取ってやる
1988 saw the release of Sekai ni
Jiraiya. But anyhow, this come on, me, stop doing that. Anyhow, it's the birth of Ninja Storm right here. I'll show, but imagine if he has to suit up like that every time. Imagine trying to do all that, and your enemy just sitting there. It's still crazy. It's crazy enough that your enemy sit there and watch you morph in the first place. But But you actually gotta sit there and manually put all your pieces on. Put your head piece on, put your mouth piece on, put your chest piece on and on and on and on, and on. And your enemy just sitting there just like, I wonder when he's gonna be done. Be like, that's crazy if they actually just sit there and let him continue to do all that.
Ninja Sin Jiraiya. 1988 saw the release of Sekai Ninja Sin Jiraiya, or World Ninja Jiraiya, a unique new ninja theme take on the Metal Hero franchise. Contrasting starkly with its tech and science fiction themed predecessors, Jiraiya would focus on ninja, as well as other Japanese themes that would really set it apart from previous seasons. Throughout this show, we would be introduced to many different ninja, ninja masters, and even samurai, making for a really interesting hybrid of old school Japan and typical Metal Hero themes. Due to the fresh and creative approach that Toei took when creating Jiraiya, it really opened up the door for what the Metal Hero franchise could be in the future.
Oh, this is like an actual robot.
1989 brought us Kido Keiji Jiban, or Mobocop Jiban. Being the first Metal Hero show of the Heisei era, this project was heavily inspired by the 1970s Toku show Robot Detective, as well as the American film RoboCop, with many similarities.
I was just getting ready to pause and say this reminds me of RoboCop. But the only reason I didn't pause to say it is because because part of me was going to say this inspired RoboCop, and no, it actually is inspired by RoboCop. Oh my god. One second. Alright. But yeah, I was gonna say this inspired RoboCop, but actually it was inspired by RoboCop. That's crazy.
In both the premise and general style. Our hero, Naoto Tamura, is a rookie police officer who's tragically killed while on duty before being turned into Jiban.
Hey.
Jiban offered fans another cop-themed hero, although with a grittier premise that was ripped straight from Hollywood.
Dang.
1990 brought us Tokei Winspector, or Special Rescue Police Winspector, featuring an armored human, codenamed Fire, and his robot allies. Winspector took place in 1999, the near future at the time, and would kick off the Special Rescue sub-series within the franchise. This show was also the first one that was titled after a team, instead of an individual hero. Interestingly enough, Winspector would recycle most of its music from Metalder. Winspector featured realistic premises and intense action mixed with fantasy elements, making for a really dynamic combination. Winspector's unique formula would prove to be extremely successful with fans. In 1991, Metal Hero fans were treated to Winspector's sequel series, Tokyo Shirei Soulbrain, or Special Rescue Command Soulbrain, a direct sequel to Winspector that would continue the Special Rescue sub-series. Soulbrain would focus on some new human teammates and a form-changing robot named Souldozer, before Fire from Winspector would return later in the season as Nightfire. Soulbrain would continue the success of Winspector and lead to yet another sequel series the following year. (1992) saw the release of the final series in the Rescue Police sub-series with Tokuso Exceed Draft, or Special Rescue Exceed Draft. Exceed Draft featured an all-male team with a slightly different tone and story than the other Special Police series. This was due to the show being originally titled Kinkyu Shirei Triangler, with the intent to make it completely separate from its predecessors. This was evident by the story being largely unconnected to previous seasons, until characters and elements from Winspector and Soulbrain would return later on. Exceed Draft paid homage.
You wanna know something that pops in my head? Imagine hold on, I'm gonna get this video like first. Imagine being the dude who has to come up with the different ways these characters, whether it be from Metal Hero, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Power Rangers. Imagine being the dude who has to come up with the way these people morph. It's like you have to come up with a different design every time. That would be not copy. Now, between Super Sentai and Power Rangers is probably not as bad as those shows can kind of, in terms of like Megazord design and costume design and stuff like that. They can kind of just Power Rangers kind of just copy off of Super Sentai. So basically, since Power Rangers is basically just the English version of Super Sentai. Well, but even if it does its own thing compared to Super Sentai, so it really just doesn't have to have that much. But for all these other ones, like, imagine being the dude who has to come up with a new way to figure out how these people morph. I just had to bring that up.
To previous seasons and looked forward to the future of Metal Hero at the same time. You asked for it and it's here. Introducing the Shogunate, the official
Shogunate.
Acrimony Discord. A chill place to hang out and talk about anime, gaming,
Vegeta.
and of course all things Toku. You can even drop me content ideas and be a part of some exclusive streams. So if that sounds cool, join up today. Link is in the description.
Jump-Person fights for justice!
After the conclusion of the Special Rescue Trilogy, Metal Hero would return in 1993 with Tokuso Robo Jan Person, or Special Investigation Robo Jan Person.
Such.
Jan Person features a slick purple robot
Oh, I thought he was
hero
about to
who
pop
takes
their
on
heads
crime in
off.
Japan and uses technology to his advantage. Reminiscent of Jiban, Jan Person would also feature many callbacks to other previous seasons, with tons of classic actors returning for guest appearances and heavily leaning on previous successes within the series in terms of tone and theme. Despite its somewhat derivative nature, Jan Person was a cool and entertaining take on the Metal Hero franchise. "1994 brought Metal Hero fans a more realistic and gritty take on the formula with Blue SWAT. Blue SWAT would emphasize realistic elements with a focus on weaponry and hand-to-hand combat. This approach was received well by older longtime fans, but kids and parents were turned off by it, which resulted in a tone shift halfway through the season, with a new character being added as well. This show is unique in that the heroes are referred to by the same name while Henshin and non-Henshin. Blue SWAT brought a fresh new tone, and although it wasn't the most successful series in the franchise, a certain portion of the Toku fandom still holds this show in high regard.
Okay, now this one really just looks like Power Rangers.
Also in
Super Sentai.
1994, Toei would release a film called Toei Hero Daishugo, a team-up film featuring Blue SWAT, Jan Person, and many Super Sentai teams. The project was shown as a triple feature alongside Super Sentai and Kamen Rider World, and was shown primarily at theme parks throughout Japan. Although this project was small, it was a cool team-up at a time when these characters were yet to really intermingle very much. 1994 would also see the release of Saban's VR Troopers, an American adaptation of the Metal Hero franchise. Due
Okay,
to
so
the
this-
success of
I'd
Power
never
Rangers
seen
in
this
the West,
before.
Saban and Toei decided that they liked money, and a sister series based off of Metal Hero was agreed upon. VR Troopers would utilize footage from multiple different Metal Hero seasons, including Spielban, Scheider, and Metalder. This show incorporated similar elements
I wonder if we can like turn the. Dang, the quality's up all the way. Okay, so this must be just his video doing this a little bit.
to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, such as the fact that this is a team of young adults with a mentor that Henshin. But VR Troopers also featured a talking dog.
Oh, talk.
VR Troopers would see moderate success in its 2 seasons and would introduce many Western fans to the Metal Hero franchise in much the same way that Power Rangers had done with Super Sentai.
I might eventually check out VR Troopers.
1995 was the year of Juko B Fighter, or Heavy Shell Beetle Fighter. Juko B Fighter focuses on a team of soldiers called B Commanders, donning insect-infused heavy armor created by Earth Academia. These B Commanders would Juko and
Bro,
take on
the-
one of
the-
the most
the
well-written
CGI,
villain
what I'm
factions
assuming
in the
that it
series
was
with
so
Jamal.
good back in the
Eventually,
day.
the series would introduce a dark B Commander named Black.
Maybe it wouldn't be considered good to some of the stuff we have now, but there's a lot of if that would like you know, I don't know a whole lot about animation, but so I don't even know if that really was CGI to be specific, but if it was, then to me that looked so good compared to especially for the time that it came out. But compared to obviously there's stuff nowadays that are probably a lot better than that, but some stuff nowadays doesn't look anywhere near as good as that.
With Jamal. Eventually, this series would introduce a Dark Beat commander named Blackbeat, who had a really interesting story with a twist that was unlike anything else in Toku. The Blackbeat story angle, to me, is quintessential 90s Toku, and the story featured visually dynamic suits and abilities that would contribute to the show's success. 1996 saw the explosive follow-up to Juko B-Fighter in the form of B-Fighter Kabuto. B-Fighter Kabuto would feature a new team of heroes, although with several returning characters, and slick new purple, silver, and gold armor for our protagonists.
Okay. Oh, that's nice.
B-Fighter Kabuto was bigger than its predecessor in nearly every way, from the detailed suits to the explosive action, the cool weapons, and the large amount of heroes featured. Much like its predecessor, this show also featured vehicles called the Neo Beat Machines, and even featured 2 giant mechas called Shell Gods. B-Fighter Kabuto would be a memorable follow-up to Juko B-Fighter, but this project would be bittersweet, as in Japan, the franchise was winding down a bit. 1996 would also see the American adaptation of Juko B-Fighter with Saban's Big Bad Beetleborgs, serving as a successor to VR Troopers. This show follows 3 average kids, Drew, Roland, and Joe, who become the Beetleborgs after freeing a ghost named Flabber that they use to obtain the powers of their favorite comic book heroes, the Beetleborgs. Flabber lived inside of a haunted house filled with some hilariously wacky monsters that would give the show a vastly different tone than other shows at the time. Beetleborgs brought a lot of unique things to the table, and it would make this show very successful. While Metal Hero was losing steam in Japan, Beetleborgs looked to have a very bright future. In 1997, Metal Hero would completely abandon the older audience to focus exclusively on young viewers with B-Robo Kabutak.
Huh?
Although Kabutak did feature appearances from previous Metal Heroes, the tone, format, suit designs, and story were completely different than before, causing many people to not even consider this part of the Metal Hero franchise, but officially it is.
I will say that can be something that can come. Oh my lord, oh my lord. Before y'all say anything, no, my glasses did not just break on camera. They were already like this. So you can tell I've had them taped up, because I don't really wear them out in public like that. I wear contacts when I'm out in public, but just because of the fact that those will not stop falling off my face. Usually when I'm doing my videos, because I'm usually at home for the day, I'm usually wearing those, but clearly don't want to stay on my face, so I'm just gonna leave those off for the rest of this video. Anyhow, what I was gonna say, that can sometimes, I don't want to say ruin a series, but it can sometimes kind of mess it up for a lot of older fans when shows, like, it gets to the point you've been going a certain way with the show for so long, then eventually you're just like, okay, we want to cater specifically to kids now, and you kind of just water it down a lot. That was kind of like, I want to say that's what's really happened to a lot of Cartoon Network shows that people used to love all the time. What's a good one? What's a good instance of that? Probably Teen Titans is probably one of the best instances of it. Well, I don't know. There are some people who still like Teen Titans Go, but I'm pretty sure almost everyone can still agree it's not nowhere near as better as the original Teen Titans. And you can tell they kind of watered it down to be more. I guess you could say they watered it down to be more intuitive for kids, but it's like they also still got some stuff in there. It's like kids really need to be watching that, but you know what I'm saying. They have some suggestive stuff in Teen Titans Go. Another good example is probably the new Ben 10 series, the original Ben 10 series. Everybody loved that. It had a good amount of serious moments, but then there's just a new reboot show, and it's just like most people don't really like it. It's good. So it's just like, yeah, you can see how it kind of messes up a show when they try to target specifically towards the kids, but it's crazy is because they think the kids can't handle some of the more mature topics, more serious moments and stuff like that, and they decide to just go full on just goofy. And while maybe kids do like that because the kids they like stuff, they like what they like, but you can kind of see how it just kind of messes it up for long time fans who are coming back to it, who try to come back to it and try to maybe get into some of the newer series, and they just can't do it because they've watered it down so much. But yeah, back up a little bit.
It is.
Beetleborgs were in a fix and now have gone metallic.
1997 also saw the follow-up to Saban's Beetleborgs in the West with Beetleborgs Metallics, based off of B-Fighter Kabuto. Following the same heroes and many of the same characters from Beetleborgs, Metallics would up the ante in terms of style and action just like Kabuto did for B-Fighter. All of the cool additions that B-Fighter Kabuto enjoyed are also present here, such as the awesome suits and vehicles. This show enjoyed moderate success in terms of viewership and toy sales, but never reached quite the same heights as Power Rangers in the West.
Woo!
1998 brought us Tetsuan Tantei Robotak, or Iron Bark Detective Robotak. This show was quite similar to Kabutak, being focused once again on small children, and consequently this show would underperform. Due to Toei's failed experiment at trying to appeal to very young children, Robotak would be the very last series in the Metal Hero franchise, but these characters would continue to appear in other projects for years to come.
We can avenge your untimely destruction, King Mondo. Let's begin!
In the classic Power Rangers episode, Forever Red, several suit designs for Metal Heroes history were featured. Most notably
I do
were
remember this episode. I never knew that's where those suits came from. Dang! Yeah, I remember this episode because it was in Power Rangers Wild Force. I remember I love this episode so much. Seeing all the Red Rangers get together for this. Were there any Red Rangers that were missing? I feel like there was. I feel like there was some Red Rangers missing from this, but I can't remember who it was. But yeah, I remember I love this episode. Seeing all the Red Rangers get together was so fire, bro. I mean, I guess you could say they don't get the SPD Red Ranger, but I'm not sure if that series was even out at this time. I don't think it was. But yeah, I never realized that some of the suit designs for the villains of that episode were from Metal Hero. That's actually cool.
And G-Stag from Juco B-Fighter. Forever Red is an absolutely legendary and classic episode in Power Rangers history, and I always thought it was funny that they expected us not to recognize the green Beetleborg walking around.
What?
You know, if you miss King Mondo that much, I promise we can help you join him.
Forever Red is an awesome episode in its own right, but whenever you add these classic Metal Hero suits into the mix, it was just a nice little cherry on top.
One of the greatest Power Rangers episodes. The movie.
2012 was a year of revival for Metal Hero, as Toei would take steps to bring the franchise to a new generation with Gokaiger vs. Gavin. This movie would see the original Metal Hero team up with the most popular Sentai of all time in an epic adventure that fans both young and old could enjoy together. Due to both Gavin and the Gokaiger's fondness of space travel, this team-up felt natural, and the conflict between Gavin and all the Gokaigers was an absolute treat for fans of these franchises. Also released in 2012 was the long-awaited and well-deserved big-screen adaptation of Gavin, with Gavin the movie. This movie features the legendary Kinji Oba to reprise his role as Gavin, and also featured the other space sheriffs, making for an epic celebration of the franchise.
到着。
Hey.
2013 brought us Superhero Taisen Zeto, a movie I've discussed quite a bit on this channel due to how many characters are here from all of Toei's properties. Superhero Taisen Zeto combined tons of characters from Metal Hero, Super Sentai, and Kamen Rider.
Super Sentai had their own Down Chart series. That's crazy. That's crazy. They really kept. Well, granted, that makes sense. The Super Sentai comes before Power Rangers, so Power Rangers just adapts what Super Sentai already had.
In an epic team up that was perfect for the big screen.
You know what? Maybe that's why I think Super Sentai did end. Not because Super Sentai pretty sure did end. It ended, but I think Power Rangers kept going for a while. Maybe that's why a lot of people say Power Rangers got kind of bad later on. A lot of people weren't enjoying the later series of Power Rangers. Maybe because they didn't have Super Sentai to go off of anymore.
This film was an awesome and over-the-top celebration and a treat for Metal Hero fans and fans of Toei in general. 2014 saw the release of Uchu Keiji Charavan Next Generation, a V-Cinema release that would put the spotlight on Charavan. This movie would reunite classic characters from the series while introducing new ones and adding new elements that make this classic project even cooler.
Oh, that gold suit. That gold suit is nasty.
Also in 2014 was Shider Next Generation, to continue the Next Generation celebration with a focus on Shider.
The heck
These
out of
Next
him.
Generation films would do their best to revitalize the franchise. Despite not leading to more series, they would pay homage and at the same time create new possibilities for Metal Hero going forward.
行くぞデカレンジャーロジャーロジャーロジャー
Roger! Roger!
2017 saw the huge V-Cinema release of Gavin vs. Deca Ranger. Gavin is investigating a deal with Mad Gallant when he decides to not wait for Fire Squad and attack before he is defeated and his partner Shelly seemingly killed in action. At the same time, the Deca Rangers investigate a trend of vampiric killings with bite marks present on the victims' necks, and investigate a trend of Shelly seemingly killed in action. At the same time,
Can we talk about this morphing animation right here? I gotta go back and watch Power Rangers, watch the scenes of them morphing in Power Rangers SPD. But this morphing animation might be way better than that one, bro. It's so clean how you got the dang. What do I even want to call it? The whole dang. It's almost like when somebody has one of them digital computers that doesn't require like an actual physical thing, and it's just like all around you, and then he's just like selecting the parts of his suit that just covers on his body. That is so clean, bro. That might honestly be better than the actual Power Rangers SPDs, bro.
the Deca Rangers investigate a trend of vampiric killings with bite marks present on the victims' necks, and Umiko and Sin are getting married. So while these plot points seem random at first, it works really well, and Deca Ranger was a great team to pair Gavin with.
Attention, Earthlings! I'm Sheriff Skyfire, and you're gonna pay for what you did to Madame Odious.
2018 brought a surprise appearance from Jiraiya in Power Rangers Ninja Steel.
Aren't you the legendary Sheriff Skyfire? You're correct, Space Citizen.
Known as Sheriff Skyfire in the Ninja Steel universe, Jiraiya's
Never watched
presence was a
Ninja Steel.
reference that was probably lost on many Power Rangers fans, but
Yeah,
this
it
was an
would've been lost
awesome
to me.
cameo for fans of Metal Hero.
俺たちも行くぞああロジャーおう
2018 was also the year of Q Ranger vs. Space Squad, a huge film featuring characters from throughout Toei's Toku universe. Featuring Q Ranger, as well as many classic Rangers and Metal Hero characters, Q Ranger vs. Space Squad was explosive, and I think it gives a lot more life to these franchises when you see them interacting with one another. It makes the world of Toku seem much larger.
Hello, Power Rangers. I am Captain Chaku of the G5 Galaxy Police Force.
In 2019, Power Rangers Beast Morphers used Gavin's suit design for a new character named Captain Shaku. Although not technically Gavin, this was a cool and unexpected treat to just happen to see Gavin's suit design in Power Rangers. So why did Metal Hero end? As far as I can tell, it was because it wasn't profitable enough to fit into Toei's portfolio after Kamen Rider returned to the small screen. Kamen Rider was off of television for most of the 90s following Shotaro Ishinomori's death. When Kamen Rider was on hiatus, Metal Hero fit nicely into the science and technology niche in its place, but with Kamen Rider returning in the 2000s, Toei just didn't find it necessary to continue with the Metal Hero franchise. Although Metal Hero is a semi-retired franchise,
You can tell they still loved it enough to still try to throw little references to it here and there, though.
it left an everlasting impression within the genre of tokusatsu. Metal Hero was a trailblazer in terms of suit design and implementation of technology into
them
the
suit
story.
designs
The
are fire
sci-fi
for a
elements
lot of them.
featured here would be a strong influence for many other space-themed Toku shows over the years. Even though Metal Hero may be gone, as long as Toku fans like you exist to keep the memory alive, it'll never actually die. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, it would mean a ton if you would smack the shit out of that like button. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye!
Okay, that was nice. I enjoyed that a lot. Okay, yeah, but bro, it's so cool seeing all these, basically seeing all these shows that basically started Power Rangers, bro. 'Cause like I said, I grew up on Power Rangers. I ain't know nothing about Super Sentai until it was years after before I even stopped. After I stopped watching Power Rangers, when I finally heard about Super Sentai. Then I find out, hey, that's where Power Rangers originally came from. You gotta know about it. I'm like, what? I thought Power Rangers was its own thing. I thought Power Rangers was where Power Rangers came from. Like, nope, it came from this. I'm like, wow. And I heard little bits and pieces here about Kamen Rider, so. But yeah, it's nice. And now we got Metal Heroes. I didn't know nothing about Metal Heroes, not until this recommendation. But yeah, that was very fire. Acrimony, Toku, you're doing your thing, giving people the lore of these Toku shows. But yeah, it's gonna be the end of this video. I hope y'all enjoyed. What am I gonna react to tomorrow? We might do another episode of Murder Drones tomorrow, maybe. That might be what we do tomorrow, and I'll probably. And like I said, I'm still gonna work on getting the Void Stranger reaction out. Hopefully, I'll start maybe working on that maybe sometime tomorrow. But yeah, anyhow, this is gonna be the end of this video. I hope y'all enjoyed. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below what you want to see me react to next time. And until next time, y'all, see ya.